Welcome to Love by Design, the podcast for high-achieving women who are ready to stop performing for love and start building it from truth, from alignment. Welcome back to Love by Design. My name is Joan Nwosu. So today, I want to name something that's quietly happening to more women than we realize. And I'm speaking especially about high-achieving self-aware women like us. So here's what's going on. We're not rage quitting love. No. We're not burning it all down. No. We're just kind of stepping back. The apps are just being deleted because we're so frustrated with the nonsense that's going on out there. People asking to introduce us are being declined. No fanfare required, just no thanks. When friends are asking about our love lives, which is usually what happens after they said hello, we just return it with a smile. But deep down inside, many of us have closed that door. Well, at least for now. And it's not because we don't want love. It's because you are exhausted by what dating has been asking you to become. And today, we're changing all of that. So if that sounds like you, then this episode is definitely for you. Okay. So let me put it into words. If you haven't got the word for it. You've built a life that you're proud of. You've done the work. You've healed. You've grown. You've evolved. You've done everything that they said you should do. Now you feel stronger, you feel clearer about who you are, about what it is that you want. But then when you step into the dating world, it's like, am I sure? You're second guessing the messages you're receiving, the breadcrumbing, the weird requests. And now you're wondering again, am I asking for too much? Do I need to keep shrinking parts of myself so that I stay desirable? You're feeling like you're playing this role, like you're wearing a mask. You're acting in a movie that's not yours. You're not living your truth. And this is not bitterness. This is not anger. It's not even fear. It's just exhaustion. Exhaustion from starting over and over again. Exhaustion from all the surface level conversations that, as we all know, not really going anywhere. Exhaustion from all the pretending not to care. You're trying to make him want you more, so you hold back, you lean back. Exhausting. You're exhausted by the gap. And that's the gap between who you are in your life, where you're thriving in your businesses and your career, and who you feel you have to become when it comes to love. Why does it have to be so different? So let me tell you what's going on. Your exhaustion isn't failure, it's feedback. It's your body saying, well, this cookie cutter approach, this new age approach of dating isn't really aligned with who you are. Maybe it was aligned with who you used to be, but it's definitely not aligned with who you are or who you're becoming today. So stepping back from a system that drains you and is not working, that's not quitting. That's you self-honoring your discernment. But here's the paradox that we live in. So, like I said, in your life, in your family, you're raising kids, you're building your business, you're taking care of your health, right? Your growth, you're working on your mindset. You have found a formula that really, really works for every area of your life, which looks something like you set a goal, you take action, and boom, you get the results, right? Because that's how things usually go. But when you try to apply that formula to love, in this case, you might read the books, take some courses, hire a dating coach, do all the inner work in your mindset, do the healing work, somatic healing, all of this great stuff. But then for some reason, love doesn't follow that formula because love doesn't obey formulas. And when things don't work, when all that you've tried hasn't worked, and as we know, the world will try to tell you that you are the problem, you're too intimidating, you're too successful, you want too much, you're independent. you don't really need anyone, then just maybe, you start to fall back into those old patterns. You start to shrink yourself. You start to soften the edges. You start to make yourself easier to love. Your power is not the problem. I repeat, your power is not the problem. The problem is trying to fit your power into a dating paradigm, a system that was never built to hold it. So, no, you don't need to shrink. All you need is a framework that honors who you actually are, the true you, all of you. You're not broken. So, it's not about rules. It's not about performance anymore. This is about your energetic blueprint, and that's where human design comes in. That's what it gives you, the truth of who you've always been designed to be. And that's how you attract, that's how you decide, and that's how you find the love that you're truly looking for. A lot of the time, we lean back or we default to traditional dating advice. And it doesn't really work. It hasn't worked because here we are. Because here's what happens with those advice. And again, there's some value in it, but in the grander scheme of things, a lot of that traditional cookie cutter advice assumes that you need to be chosen, right? But maybe your design says something different. Maybe your design says that there needs to be mutual recognition. It's not just someone choosing you. You have to choose them too. Traditional advice will say something like, it's all about your performance. So the more you perform to fit into a particular persona, then you will get the result. So not you being your authentic self, you being this cookie cutter version of who this high value woman is who can get all the men. So it might say things like, you should be confident, but not too confident because that might be too intimidating. Or it will say, be feminine, but don't be too needy. You shouldn't rely on a man, right? Or it will say, yes, be available, but don't chase. Just hold back. It's a constantly moving target. And even when you master the game, because that's what it looks like these days, you probably end up with a man who only is attracted to the mask, the performance, because that's what he saw. And that's not the real you. And worst of all, your inner system, your nervous system knows your inner system is screaming, but we completely ignore it, right? And because of how successful you are in other areas of your life, you're used to solving problems, you're used to leading people, you're used to holding space. You know how to drive things forward. And so you keep trying and trying and trying to fix it and trying to make it work. But no, it doesn't work, or it hasn't worked so far. And that's not romantic, that's dysregulation. So yes, of course you're tired. You should be. You've been playing a game that was never designed for you. That game you be playing was designed for somebody else. So if you're like most women, high achieving women who have stepped away from dating, I don't want you to think about it as defeat. That's not defeat, that's wisdom. You're not giving up on love. You're giving up on a structure that was never meant for you. It never honored who you truly are. And now you have a chance to do something extremely powerful. You have the chance to finally reclaim your energetic design, understand your unique way of attracting, your unique way of choosing, of bonding, of being. This is love rooted in truth, the truth of who you are, and not this performance that we've been playing for so long. So this pause for you can be your pivot if you use it with intention. So just like building a house, if the foundation is cracked, you don't just keep stacking bricks on top of it. No, you pause, you assess, and then you rebuild. But it has to be built from the right place. So that's what we're doing this whole month of January. We're rebuilding your foundation using your design, because that is exactly how you were always built to approach love. So here's your reflection for this week. What has dating been asking you to be that isn't actually who you are? I know that for me, one of the biggest challenges that I had with the traditional dating was being chosen. And that's one of my biggest fears. Is he going to choose me? Is he going to choose me? Is he going to see me? Is he going to choose me? Right? So I kept waiting to be chosen and not really actively looking at the person to say, is this person actually good for me? So what has dating been asking you to be that isn't who you are? And I want you to stay quiet and just listen and see what comes up, what truth starts to speak to you. Whether it's playing small, shrinking yourself, dressing a certain way, being less loud, right? Just observe. The gap between who you are and who dating says you should be, that's where the exhaustion is, because you're performing out of character, out of the truth of who you are. But guess what? That's also where the healing begins. So I want you to sit with that contemplation for this week. And next week, we're going to be continuing on this foundation, because this whole month is the foundation of aligned love. These are the things that you have to do, you have to understand to be able to become the one so that you can attract the love that you truly desire. So as a reminder, we're talking about all things human design, and I've recently updated the dating archetype report. So even if you've downloaded it in the past, I want you to go back and download a new copy, because now I've improved it a little bit, just so that you can start to get a glimpse of who you are and who you need to be in the dating world to be able to attract the right person for you. So that's all I have for you for this week. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you keep studying your design, you keep learning who you are, and you keep embodying that version of you who can attract their aligned partner. So let me know, send me a message, how this landed for you, some of those things that you've been doing that is not truly you, that's been holding you back, and let's build from there. Let's start the journey of healing and becoming from there. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week on Love by Design. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. And if it stirred something in you, trust that alignment isn't a concept, it is a calling. And if you're feeling the nudge to take this work deeper, then I want you to go ahead and book your Aligned Love Assessment, where we map your patterns, reveal what's keeping you stuck, and explore your journey to aligned love. You can book your session at joannwosu.com. Until next time, remember, you're not here to earn love, you're here to embody it. So keep dating by design, not by default. See you next week.